Your information station, WTIM.
It's time now for the WTIM Morning Show right here on WTIM, your information station. Thanks so much to our live stream sponsors, People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark. We're streaming live on Facebook at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. The streaming service is having a hard time connecting to Facebook. If you're trying to watch YouTube, WTIM TV, you can find it right there. On the phone line in our first segment here, we have Jack Myers, Public Affairs Specialist with the Social Security Administration, good friend of the Morning Show. How are you today, Jack?
I'm doing well, Tim. How are you?
I'm doing super well, and thank you one more time for being back here with us today, getting us all informed where we need to. We've got some very important topics to hit on today. And in the world of scams, you always let us know when we need to of what's being reported out there. But we're going to start the conversation with it today. What have you been hearing? What are we talking about?
Well, we've been hearing reports of, I guess I'll call it a new trend in the world of scams. And this is something that I think is a little bit more of a long con, and it starts out as something other than being Social Security related, and then they kind of spin it into that. So what we're hearing is that, it's starting off with some sort of fake tech support issue. Maybe it's somebody that says they're from Amazon or PayPal. And of course, I want to be clear, they're not really from any of these places that they say they're from. But they say that they're from something like that, and that there is some sort of issue, and they want to try and help you resolve it. And if you give them access to your computer while they're in there trying to fix this fake problem that doesn't actually exist, they claim that they find another fake problem that's related to your Social Security number. So then the next level of this scam, or con, if you will, is that they say they're going to put you in touch with somebody from the Office of Inspector General for the Social Security Administration. And of course, that's not true either. So they put you in touch with this individual who's claiming to be from our Office of Inspector General. And from there, they kind of string it out. So what we're hearing is they make several contacts. It may take a week, it may take a month, it may take a couple months, but they're talking with you over time, building that trust. And eventually what they try to do is they try to get you to convert your money into some form of more liquid asset that they can essentially steal from you. So their ultimate game plan is to basically break you of your savings. It's really a heinous scam because they're really trying to get every dime they possibly can. And, unfortunately, there was a recent news article from about a woman in Ohio who lost over $500,000 in a scam like this. She took her money, bought gold with it, and ultimately turned it over to this scammer who she believed was an Office of Inspector General of Social Security representative. And I think the scam, or the nature of it, was that they were trying to help her safeguard her money because of the issues going on with her Social Security number. They were trying to hold that money for her to safeguard it. Of course, that is not true. We would never do that. We're never going to meet up with you and ask you to hand money over to us for safekeeping. So if you're hearing something like that, please know that is a scam. They try to prey on people who, aren't talking about this with other folks. So, make sure if you have elderly people in your life that you're talking to them about this kind of scam, and encourage them to talk to you, even if somebody's told them not to, because for whatever reason, these scammers are able to convince folks not to talk about this to anybody else that would potentially put a stop to what they're trying to get them to do.
My goodness, even the secrecy aspect at the very end right there. And as we're talking about it, every time we do talk about it, the scammers have adapted. They've evolved into a more frightening, more coordinated attacks right there. So just to kind of head back a little bit, this you say it's more drawn out process, and it's just building trust with usually an elderly person there. Giving access to your computer should really only be something that's done by your local technology or geek squad at Best Buy. I mean, that's usually something we should never be giving access to.
Yeah, that's a good point. You want to be very careful of that, because that's the kind of the gateway in to a lot of different things. So do be cautious of that.
other than manifesting it over the computer, they're using terms Office of Inspector General, Social Security. What are the main ways? And you mentioned that Social Security will never use this route to contact you. But can we just reiterate one more time the ways that these scammers are using the names of Social Security Office Inspector General, and just make that clear one more time, that in the ways that you would only be contacted by those groups.
Yeah. So basically, just to be clear on that, we're never, I'm going to say never, 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 never going to contact you and ask you to liquidate your bank accounts and share them with us in some way for safekeeping. It's just not going to happen. So if you're hearing that, that is 100% guaranteed a scam. Social Security, whether it's our offices, whether it's our Office of Inspector General, we are not in the business of safeguarding your personal assets. That is not true.
Yeah.
So if you're hearing that, whether they ask you to convert it to gold, or some of the more sophisticated ones might ask you to convert it to some kind of cryptocurrency. Sometimes they're asking you just to convert it to cash, and then they're meeting up with you to collect that in whatever fashion you've converted it. I also heard recently a guy was asked to deposit money, to withdraw money from his bank account and deposit it via ATM. Again, we're not going to do that. So if you're hearing those sorts of things, it's not legit. It's not coming from Social Security. And please, please, please don't do it.
Yeah.
Because if you do, you very likely will not get that money back.
Yeah. You must be skeptical. You must be aware of these red flags. And you mentioned the red flags. I raise my eyebrows like crazy when you bring up crypto, when you talk about taking money out of a bank and just putting it back in an ATM. Yeah, you have to be thinking twice about these kinds of things here. Made it very clear right there, Mr. Jack Myers, about never, never, never contacting anyone out there for those types of issues with Social Security. So amazing. Anything to wrap up this conversation? Reporting scams? Any other places we can go for more info?
Yeah, so there are places you can go for more info. We've got a lot of good information about scams on our website. So if you go to ssa.gov/scam, you can learn about these scams that are going on. And then there is also a way to report that to our actual Office of Inspector General, so you can see that sort of thing. And Tim, another thing came to mind here while we were talking this morning. I did hear from a man in the local area who came to our office in Springfield last week and said he fortunately sniffed this out and didn't fall victim to it, but he was almost a victim to something like this. And his started with a voicemail allegedly from Walmart claiming that his purchase of a PlayStation 5 plus a headset had been approved for $900, and then he should press 1 or call this number back if he didn't make that purchase. Well, of course, he didn't make that purchase because it was a total scam. It was a hoax. But when he got on the phone with them, ultimately that led to somebody convincing him or trying to convince him that there was a problem with his Social Security number and crimes were being committed under it, and he was potentially going to be arrested if he didn't follow their directions. Ultimately, they went so far when he pushed back and didn't want to give them the money that they were asking for. They told him that an arrest warrant was going to be issued. When he hung up his phone immediately rang, and the caller ID on his phone showed that the call was coming from the Sangamon County Jail.
Oh.
It, of course, was not. They had spoofed the caller ID, but it really got in his head and scared him, so he came and visited us. They told him that they wanted him to withdraw all of his money from his bank accounts except $500 and deposit it in an ATM. And the reasoning for that was that they felt that maybe the bank was involved, so they didn't want him to talk to the bank because it would mess up their investigation. So these folks are ruthless. They do whatever they can to try to trick you and keep you from talking to people about it. But again, ultimately, they were trying to get him to take money and deposit it in an ATM so that we could keep it safe for him. And we're not going to do that. So again, that's a huge red flag. Don't ever, ever do that, no matter how tricky they are. Don't trust your caller ID, apparently, even, because they can spoof that and and fake that as well.
My goodness, it's just so evil when you talk about it like that. And that was a success story of that person that had the wherewithal to come in to Social Security office there. But I mean, if one out of every 100 people get scammed, that those scammers they get a win right there. So learning all the things to be aware of out there with Jack Myers, public affairs specialist with the Social Security Administration. This conversation will roll perfectly into our next topic here. We're going to be reporting recognizing elder abuse when we come back, and a whole lot more to talk about there. Thanks so much to our live stream sponsors, People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark. We'll be right back here on the WTIM Morning Show.
Your information station, WTIM.
With the holidays coming, Rick and the team at Taylorville Home Source, next to the driver's license office in Taylorville, is here to help.
Stop by and visit with Rick now about the kitchen cabinets, countertops, or flooring you want installed in time for holiday entertaining.
He offers free in-home measurement, free design service, and free estimates.
Now's the time to get to Taylorville Home Source next to the driver's license office today to get your home project done before the family and friends arrive.
They beat the box store prices every day. Shop local and support local.
The Shelby County Economic Development Corporation aims to foster, promote, and stimulate economic development, from keeping existing industry and retail businesses successful and thriving to attracting new investment in Shelby County. The Shelby County Economic Development Corporation is here to help your business grow. It also sponsors job fairs to fill positions at existing employers and encourages future entrepreneurs in the Shelby County CEO program. Find out more on the Shelby County Economic Development Corporation by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Your locally owned Scooters Coffee at routes 29 and 104 in Taylorville are proud to be the exclusive sponsor of the WTIM Tornado Give Back promotion. Scooters Coffee will donate the following to the Taylorville Sports Boosters. For each Tornado varsity football touchdown, they're donating $10. For each three-point shot in varsity Tornado boys and girls basketball games, they're donating $3. And $5 for each home run scored by varsity baseball and softball team. The 22 local Scooters Coffee Taylorville, thank you for your business. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast.
If you're looking for a local, full or part-time job in Central Illinois, there's an easy place to go to find current job openings. It's IllinoisJobPost.com. That's IllinoisJobPost.com. You'll find jobs available near you. And the best part is that it's free for candidates to access 24/7. If you want a local job when you don't have to spend a lot of money on gas to get to, then you want access to IllinoisJobPost.com to check out current local job openings. That web address again is IllinoisJobPost.com. Another service from your friends at the Miller Media Group.
Here are the contest rules for our stations. We allow one person per household to win any prize from the radio stations in a 30-day period. Unless otherwise stated, all prizes to Christian County winners are to be picked up within 2 weeks at the studios at 918 East Park in Taylorville. Our new office hours are 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. weekdays. Winners outside of Christian County will have their prizes mailed. Any cash prize is mailed within 30 days of winning. Only if cash winners call our business line within 2 weeks of their name being drawn to provide their mailing address. Employees and their families of the Miller Media Group are not eligible to participate or win any contest.
Sign up for People's Bank and Trust Save by Spending Roundup program, and they'll round up your purchases to the next dollar, then transfer that change to your savings account. It's as easy as shop, enjoy, and save. Get details by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Hi, this is Jeff Robinson from Advanced Title. Whether selling your home on your own or through your local realtor, please give us a call at 824-8007 for all your title work needs.
Your information station, WTIM.
We are back here on the WTIM Morning Show on WTIM, your information station. I'm Tim Zalabak, your host of it. Thanks so much to our live stream sponsors, People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark. Still having a tough time connecting to the Facebook there. We'll get that all figured out. On the phone line, Jack Myers, public affairs specialist with the Social Security Administration, learned a whole lot about the hybrid scams, these kind of drawn out scams that can start with scammers getting the information they need, getting access to your computer, knowing all the things to be aware of there. Go to ssa.gov/scam to find out more information about that. Now, Jack Myers reporting recognizing elder abuse out there, and we just talked about a form of elder abuse. Of course, it could happen to people of all ages, right there. But what do you have for us here? What's top of mind?
Yeah, so elder abuse, Tim, is defined as the intentional mistreatment or harming of an adult over the age of 60. And it can take many forms. course, there's the financial side of it, financial exploitation that we were kind of talking about in the first segment, but it could also be physical, emotional, sexual harm, neglect. So there are different forms that elder abuse can take. In the U.S., it's estimated that about 10% of older adults experience some form of abuse each year.
Wow.
And unfortunately, the reality is that the number is probably even higher because elder abuse often goes unreported. Abusers are typically someone that the older person knows and trusts, but there are some signs that you can look for to help you identify this. Variety of different things. Number one, you could look for sort of kind of a new depression in the individual, unusual fear or anxiety, or intentional isolation. You can help make a difference in this by just checking in with older loved ones and looking for those signs that I've just mentioned. You can also look for physical signs. I mean, those are a little bit more obvious, but things like bruises, burns, unexplained injuries. Neglect is a big thing to watch for, though, as well. So neglect could manifest itself by showing things like poor nutrition or hygiene, lack of necessary medications or medical aids like glasses that a caretaker should be providing. So if there's somebody who's responsible for taking care of an elder in your life, and you notice that all of a sudden they appear to be malnourished or their hygiene has taken a turn for the worse, maybe they don't have glasses or things they need, those are things you should watch for. Signs of financial exploitation sometimes can be harder to identify because you don't always have access to things that would show you that. But some ways that you could maybe see it would be unpaid rent, sudden changes to a will, unusual changes in money management habits, unexplained financial transactions, allowing someone new to access bank accounts. So if you're seeing any of those kinds of things, those could be signs of financial exploitation. And again, sometimes, unfortunately, it's a person that's close to the individual. So it could be family members, it could be staff at inpatient facilities, hired or volunteer caregivers, even people in positions of trust like doctors or financial advisors. So if you suspect that someone is a victim of elder abuse, you can report it to the Illinois Adult Protective Services. They have a hotline. It's a 24-hour hotline, and the phone number is 866-800-1409. So again, that's Illinois Adult Protective Services, and it's 866-800-1409. And while we're talking about elder abuse today, and so that was age 60 or older, they can also handle reports of abuse against people with disabilities or between the ages of 18 and 59. So you could cover both angles there at that Illinois Adult Protective Services hotline, 866-800-1409.
Okay, it's all just about being aware of your loved ones right there, and some of them are pretty easy to point out, like you were talking about, or it's sometimes going to be a lot tougher just knowing the changes in behavior. That can be a big one right there. Why is grandma or grandpa acting weird? It's all something just to take care of. I commonly think of caretakers and assisted living facilities, and is that majority of the 10%, or can it be just an elderly person living on their own?
Well, I think it could be an elderly person living on their own. It can be really anything, Tim. I want to recognize that the vast majority of people who are in these industries and providing services are doing their very best and, looking out for these individuals, all the time. So I don't want to imply that everybody's bad, but I think we just need to be aware and we need to pay attention and kind of check in on our friends and family members just to kind of take an active role in helping prevent this sort of thing. The more of us that are looking out for people, the less likely something like this is to happen.
Yeah, absolutely agreed, Jack. We are totally out of time here, but any places online we can go for all the things we've talked about today?
Well, you can always find out good information on our website at ssa.gov.
Perfect. Jack, thanks so much for taking the time with us once again this month.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Jack Myers, Public Affairs Specialist with the Social Security Administration, informing us all on the important topics on our WTIM morning show. You've been listening to WTIM, your information station.
The Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville, 96.1 W241 CF Taylorville, 107.5 W298 CD Shelbyville, 107.9 W300 EH Payne and Nokomis.
The Tel Aviv-bound rocket was among scores fired at Israel from Lebanon. Just yesterday, Israel killed the head of the Hezbollah rocket and missile program. Communist China claims a success